All right, looks like everything's working. Get started in a minute here. Using StreamYard tonight, using a new platform that should hopefully allow me to show some graphics and whatnot, which will be really useful as I look at world rankings and different things. So that should be hopefully enjoyable for you, the viewer. Got the OG Earth Fed Muscle Shaker. Getting my protein in after did speed bench, pullovers behind the ground, starting pulling it off the ground to me and then back over. So a little bit tricky. I think it went pretty well. Notes up here. Let's see. The Harry Jerome Classic is going on in Canada right now. Maddie Harris, Maggie Harden Malone, Ariana Ince, Mark Minicello, Jacob Moran, Rebecca Wales, a bunch of people throwing. I think it should have finished by now, but haven't gotten. There were really, if I read the schedule right, like during the competition, because it started, an hour and a half or 2 hours ago, there hasn't been any updates. So at this point, I'm expecting the full results to just get entered in one, fell swoop. Yeah, and see, as of right now, there's just start lists. So waiting to see that. But yeah, see, the women's 100 just went off, and that was scheduled to happen in an hour and a half after. So yeah, so that we should be getting those results real soon. So, all right, well, I'll just start here. So gonna recap U.S. Nationals, talking about the senior level, obviously, and the U20 level, which had an impact on the teams that'll be announced for, World Championships. At the senior level, the U23 team, which I think we have set for the NECAC competition, which will be in Costa Rica, and then the U20 Pan Am competition. So there's a U20 team, and they're headed to Puerto Rico. So we'll kind of talk about those things, talk about Maddie and Mark and their world ranking status. And so they're chasing that right now, like I said, in Canada. So we'll talk about the numbers that they need to advance to get within the top 36, which is what it's going to take to get a spot based on world rankings. I'll talk about my opinions on the world ranking system and anything else, if anything else gets thrown in the comments that's worth segueing into. So we'll get started in recapping U.S. Nationals. And so let me see if I can do this here. I'm going to try this. I'm going to open the results. I should be able to. 220. Okay. And then add something. Add a media slot. Present. Share screen. We're learning together. All right. Cool. All right. There we go. So we're looking at the men's results. And so I predicted that Curtis would win. I thought that Zuriel would take second and Capers would take third. So kind of close. So I got Curtis right, which, picking Curtis to win, it's a bit of a chalk pick. But at the same time, I think, like I said on my preview, that any of those guys were reasonably capable of winning. It wasn't a guarantee by any stretch, but Curtis taking the win in the 6th round. So took a little bit for him to get warmed up, not breaking 75 till the 4th round and then getting over 78 in round 5, taking the win in round 6, but holding the lead until that point, Capers Williamson. So Capers having a really strong season. coming into this meet. A lot of great throws. He's in a healthy position in his world ranking. I think he's 25th, if I remember right. So he takes the lead in round 1 with 74.83, and then holds the lead, with his best throw of 78.91 in round 2. So that ends up holding the lead until Curtis takes the win in round 6. And then Mark Minicello. I thought Zuriel, like I said, I picked him second. And then I thought Ethan was still do pretty well. And then Mark would be just behind him. But Mark showed out. Not the best first 3 throws, and really just for everyone a tough initial couple throws. But Mark getting it done in round 5, 78.07. Taking third, securing himself the opportunity to chase for world championships. So he's doing that, like I said, now in Canada. And so we'll talk about that more later. Tim Glover, competed a little bit last year and didn't compete at all this year, but, went to nationals this year. And so opened his season and closed his season in one fell swoop, 76.04 in round 3 to take 4th place. It's extremely impressive to not compete at all, go to U.S. nationals. And pull that off. He posted to Instagram, I believe, a few days after that, hey, I'm going to be back next year for my final season. Stay tuned for more on that. So exciting. Tim's going to make a run, it looks like, at making an Olympic team, which would be really cool. It's not something that, to my knowledge, he's done. I know he competed, I think, at the 2012 trials. I can't remember if he competed at the 16 trials or if he was injured during that time. So it'd be really exciting for him to make a run in his final year at an Olympic team. A little bummed to see, behind Tim there, Ethan Shalloway. I think Ethan has had a relatively strong season. He got over 80 last year, but unable to do that coming into USA's, but still some pretty solid numbers and getting into some decent meets. He took the win at the New York Grand Prix. So his world ranking was decent coming into USA's. So I thought, hey, if Ethan can do well at USA's, he'd give himself a chance to try to get on the world team. But unfortunately, it just wasn't, his day at U.S. Nationals. But I'm excited. I'm going to get to see him throw in person at JavFest. Last year, he threw, I believe, 79 something. So hopefully conclude his 2023 season at JavFest with a really nice throw. I'm sure he'll have family and friends there, being a relatively local meet, Pennsylvania representing. So hope to see that there. And John Keenan, Chandler, finishing pretty high for college guys, and especially extending their season. The college season starting to compete in some of these guys March, early April. So for them to compete well, for John Keenan to compete well at NCAAs, and then follow that up and be within 2 meters or so of his PR, which he set at D1s, is impressive. Michael Shuey taking 8th, and so the last guy into finals. Shuey threw 85.67, if I'm not mistaken, at JavFest a couple years back. So, Shuey definitely world-class javelin thrower in terms of potential and historical, data, so to speak. But just dealing with some tough stuff with the knee, from what I understand. Injured. I believe Shuey injured his knee at Worlds last year, if I'm not mistaken. So it's just been challenging the last year and change for him. So hoping to see him get to full health over this off season and come back real strong. Yeah, touched on, Zuriel and Ethan, tough competition, especially. That's got to be really, really frustrating, thinking, okay, Zuriel just won D1s at this facility, and now I get to go back there to compete at senior nationals, and just wasn't there for him. And same thing for Ethan. You're the defending champion. You had a relatively good college season. You probably wanted more. I get an opportunity to try to defend my title, make another world team, but the truth of it, in my opinion, is Ethan's a young, thrower in terms of his career, his potential, his timeline. And so as frustrating as this is, this is just a moment in a journey that's sort of just begun. So frustrating, but he'll be back, no doubt. So that kind of covers the men's competition. We'll talk a little bit more specifically about Mark and his world ranking status. I said, Capers is in a pretty safe position. Let me just double check that. But if I recall, Yeah, Capers is at 24. I would be shocked if he dropped by more than 5 or 6 spots over the next couple weeks. So let's switch here, and Curtis is at 6. All right, so we're gonna switch to the women's results. All right, so women's results. So I picked Maggie to win, Maddie to take second. I thought Ari would take third, Madison Wiltrot take fourth. And so, again, kind of close, but Maddie getting it done. So really impressive for her to follow up NCAAs with this performance to set a PR in this meet. It's really impressive. And so, apologize. The yawning this evening is unacceptable. All right. So, Maddie, extremely impressive to perform like this at the national meet. So really exciting for her. She gets to chase a spot on the world team. She's in a tough spot. I think she's at 43rd. Let's get that number right here. Yeah, she's at 46. And her average score, which is what has her where she is 1078. So she's got to get to 1,103 from 1,078. So that doesn't sound like too far, but that's actually pretty hard to do because she's going to need to throw pretty much over 60 meters today and win or take second to get the placement points to bring her average close to that. And then she's going to need to go to another meet most likely to cancel out another one of her college season results. So we'll get into more of that later as we get into the weeds of world rankings. But just really pumped for her. Super cool to see her PR and win USA's. Maggie had considering the challenges she's had injury wise, to throw 58 and make it through, secure her ticket. I mean, she's ranked 25th. I believe as of right now. So again, like Capers, it's unlikely that her world ranking is going to drop that far. So I think she's pretty safe for making the team. And then that 6th round throw, if you didn't know, you see a foul on the sheet here. So if you didn't, get to really hear or see the competition anywhere, I was watching on the Auburn live Instagram live. So shout out to whoever was behind the camera on that. Maggie had a bomb, probably 61 meters or close to, but it was just outside the right sector line. So that's tough. One of the challenges technically for her, getting her arm into the right position to be able to pull straight. And so unfortunately, pushing the javelin out the right has been something that's happened over the last, I think 2 years, maybe more. I'm not too certain, but just bummer to see, but exciting to know that distance is there. She went over 62 earlier this year. So she just needs to be able to put, a 60, 61 on the table in the first 3 throws to get through qualifying. I mean, maybe 58, 59 will make it, but probably not. I'm guessing it's going to take 60 low to get through qualifying this year. So if she can do that, she has the capability to throw, far enough to medal, far enough to place high in finals. But you got to get there first. And that means you've got to produce, qualifying, you only get 3 throws. And so that's been a bit of a challenge this year. I think in general, when you look at competitions, there's some decent numbers from American javelin throwers, but they don't typically come in those first 3 throws. And especially at the bigger competitions, we see the bigger throws later on in the competition. So that's got to happen sooner at the big meet. But nonetheless, a solid result for her. And then Madison Wiltrout following up a tough Division I nationals. She took 8th place there with a first round effort over 55, and she does the same here. She gets over 55 and takes 3rd place, which is, I think speaks to the level of depth at the Division I level, that the Division I national meet was deeper and more competitive than the U.S. national meet, which is pretty wild. But to credit to Madison for getting on the board early with that 55-51 and that holding that spot. Rebecca Wales heating up throughout the competition, puts together a nice season's best of 54.06. So that's really solid for her. She's throwing at Harry Jerome today. And I'm thinking that with that 54, and then if she can, between this or if she throws at Jav Fest, if she can get another 54 plus meter mark on the board, I think there's a chance next year that she'll get invited to some other meets. I know that she went to a meet, in Australia that Capers and Donovan Banks went to. So in terms of her Olympic chances, she's definitely going to need to throw a few meters further to even for it to even be possible. But she's trending in the right direction and getting numbers on the board that are going to get her hopefully into some meets that have a higher category and are worth more points and are ultimately, that's going to get you closer to the world ranking you might need. And then if she has an amazing day at the trials, you just never know. So, I'm hoping to see her continue to grow. Her personal best is from her college years at LSU, and she's battled back from some injuries. And so really cool to see a season's best at nationals. So hopefully a PR on the horizon, and maybe a Jav Fest, or even has already happened at Harry Jerome. And I'm just waiting to hit refresh here. We'll see. But so credit to her taking fourth place. It's, I think, her best finish to my knowledge at USA's. Megan Albamonte taking fifth. And so she secures a spot on the U23 team. Haven't heard anything, seeing that she passed her last three throws, but she was selected for the team. And so I'm assuming, with that declaring after the meet that she's okay. She's going to be good to compete at the U23 meet. So that's exciting for her. Ari, a tough meet. I thought she was going to be able to replicate her recent form that was in the 55, 56 meter range, but just wasn't there. But she has the world championship standard from last September. So she's good there. And her world ranking is still holding strong 21. Not that that matters. But Mara, representing Auburn, more of a, to my knowledge, preferring shot and discus. That's been kind of what she's done more of at her time at Auburn. But a very capable javelin thrower. And towards the end of this year, she geared up and threw javelin conferences, threw at regionals, made it to nationals. And now she throws at nationals, taking 5 steps, which 5 steps, I forget what the phrase is. She has a cool phrase, 5 steps in a dream. I'm going to have to check that. It's cool. It's cool to see Mara getting after it in the javelin. So she also selected for the U23 team. So she'll be joining Megan competing in Costa Rica, representing the U.S. at the NACAC U23 meet, which is cool. Okay. So that kind of covers general recap of that. Let's jump into the U20s real quick. Let's see here. So U20 men's competition. So this determining spots for the U20 Pan Am team, but also it would seem the U23 team. So Dash of Nebraska taking the win. And my understanding, I asked him, he's slated to compete at U23s and U20s. So he's on both those teams. So congratulations to him. And Mike Stein's going to be on the U20 team. So Dash and Mike making up the U20 team. And then Dash and Braden Presser are the U23 team for NACAC. So congratulations to them. Talked to a couple people, including some of these athletes, about what it was like competing on the day. Wind was a little tricky. The word on the street was wind was a little tricky, dealing with kind of inconsistent. And then the other challenge was just guys moving around on the runway, the surface, which is really unfortunate. How is it that you build this mecca of track and field, and it's supposed to be the epitome of technology and innovation in track and field, and you build a javelin runway that doesn't support the javelin? And so, I kind of already knew this, watching Worlds last year, people sliding around. I've got a video covering the spike length that javelin throwers should use at the elite level. And there's a clip of Keshorn Walcott sliding on the runway in the World Championship, which should just never happen. Sorry, I just got distracted because my phone, thankfully, just lit up. Harry Jerome Classic results. Let's check on the women. Boom. Wow. Okay. Ari takes the win. Season's best, 59.95. Maggie Malone, 57.76. Maddie Harris, 55.94. Rebecca Wales, I think that's I can't say for sure if that's a PR, 54.82. Let's check. Oh, this is so exciting. Rebecca Whale, World Athletics. This is so fun. For the two of you watching live, hopefully you're enjoying this here. All right, personal best. Why does it say her personal best? 58.23. Did she really throw 600 gram 58 in 17? Okay, I stand corrected. Well, that is my mistake. I had no idea she did that. Well, still, 54.82, a season's best. So that's awesome for her. And then a 51 and a 46 for two Canadian athletes, or at least one. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So Ari, a season's best. That's really big. Maggie, 57. The tough part is for Maddie, 55.94 doesn't really give her that many points. We'll do the math. Plus third place is probably like 30 points, maybe. We'll do that math there. All right, men's competition. What do we got? Mark Minicello, 73.80. Jacob Moran's finished fifth, 68.26. Marcus Tripp, 73.08. So 73.80. Let's do the field series real quick. 73, 70, 73, 71, 70. Okay, so 73.80 in round 5. Let's check on the women's. Now, this, I believe, was done concurrently. So Ari produced her 59.95 in round 6. Same thing for Maddie. 55.94 in round 6. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. We will come back to that, but just wanted to share that bit of breaking news. So where were we? We're talking about the runway. Yeah. So in talking with, I just realized you can't see my shirt. Got my Spearworks Viper shirt representing. So in talking with the guys that threw at U20s and some of the people that are there watching, yeah, just like the runway and the wind, just challenging. So it's really unfortunate. So, one of the things on my kind of list of things I'd love to do at some point is sit down or, at least Zoom call with someone that works for a company that does surface manufacturing and talk to them about the differences in the surfaces on the market and try to get an understanding of their opinion on, okay, for the Javelin, in an event where you want to come to a complete stop on this weird angle, we're not applying force straight down, we're meeting the ground like this with our, obviously my image is inverted. Yeah. So like it's an angled stop. It's just totally different, so from an engineering standpoint, what works for the 100 meters is probably not going to work for the Javelin. So why is it that there's a one size fits all approach? The high jump, you're in a similar situation, and maybe even the triple jump, you could potentially say that a different kind of surface might be better for that too. But especially the Javelin, just, I've had great practices when I am doing like a, what's the word I'm looking for? Like shakeout session before, nationals at some other, I'm in Iowa or some other state at in college. Getting ready for D3 nationals. I'm at blah, blah, blah high school, and they've got this basically asphalt runway. Like it is the hardest track surface I've ever been on. It's rough and seems almost unfinished, but it's great. It doesn't budge. It doesn't chip. And it's like, why isn't this the standard everywhere? And then you get on these Mondo surfaces that either chew up fast or who knows what. So it's unfortunate to keep hearing that, but it's one of the things, like it's outside your control at that point. The surface, the Javelin runway is not going to magically get resurfaced before the competition. So you've got to be able to adjust and deal with it. It's outside of your control. But for someone on the outside, I'm gonna sit here and complain and run my mouth about it because it's really frustrating. We want to optimize for athletes to perform well, to be safe. And it's just frustrating to continuously do something that doesn't work. But that's another topic for another time. So tough day getting into things for the U20 men. If I share that tidbit. So at this point, let's talk about world rankings. Let's get into that. So world rankings. That doesn't help. World athletics. So here's the deal. World rankings. How do they work? So the world rankings, ranking criteria. track and field. So if you're not familiar, here's how it works. So there is a result score, right? Let's say you throw 50 meters. 50 meters is equal to X number of points. So your score is that 50 meters value. Let's just say it's 700. 700 points for throwing 50 meters. And then let's say you won. Okay, so then you get points for winning. But you won at not that big of a meet. So the value of winning is worth, we'll say 10 points, right? So your score is 710, right? 700 for your 50-meter throw, 10 points for winning. Your performance score is 710. Now, let's say you go to a bigger meet and you get 5th place, but it's a really big meet. So now you get 20 points for getting 5th place, and you threw 49 meters even, right? And so let's say that's worth 680 points. No. Let's say 690. Yeah. So then that means that the score's 690 plus 20. So you see how you can have interesting situations where you don't throw as far, but because of the placing and the status of the meet, it creates a performance score, a final score that, maybe in your head you're like, that doesn't make sense. So that's your world ranking is comprised of 5 performance scores averaged, right? And so if let's say you have a 700, a 710, a 720, a 730, whatever, right? You add those up, divide by 5. That's your score that then is put on a list to determine your world ranking. So from here, what we want to look at is the scoring tables, and cool. Yeah. And then this here. So this here is the value of your place for a meet. So, for example, OW stands for, I can't remember what's at the top. Okay, categories, Olympic Games and World Champs. So if you make the final of the World Championship, and you get 16th place, you get 80 points. So getting 16th gets you 80 points plus your distance score. And so that, you can see is worth more than winning a C meet. So today, the Harry Jerome Classic is a C meet. And so depending on how far you throw, you might get more out of getting 16th at Worlds than winning that, And so what we can talk about here is, whether all that makes sense or not. This is, it's tough to develop a system that's perfect. And ultimately, the goal World Athletics has here, my understanding, is to have more people qualify through the world ranking than through getting the standard. So the standard is meant to be difficult to achieve. For the men, it's 85-20. For the women, it's 63-80, I believe. So it's tough to hit that. So the world ranking becomes important. So getting to competitions that are considered better, that are of a higher category, is more valuable to you. And those tend to be not in the U.S., which is part of my kind of gripe with the system, is that it's a lot easier to get to a meet if you're in Europe already. And so the kind of support system and whatnot, that just makes it challenging. But we're losing signal. Oh, we're back. Okay, we're back. I have myself on the there, just keeping tabs on things. Okay, so remember this. These are the values. So Maddie, my understanding, Maddie gets 45 points for taking 3rd. Okay. Scoring tables. Which, it's a PDF. Oh, it'll open here. I was worried it wasn't going to open here. Okay. So Maddie threw 55.94. Okay. There we go. I should be able to do this pretty quick. Maddie threw. Oh, there it is. It's weird. See how Javelin's here and Heptathlon's here? When you scroll up, now Heptathlon's over here, Javelin's here, and the points are over here. So this thing just kind of flip-flops weird. 55.94. So 55.94 falls between these two. So my understanding is that she's going to get 1,003 points for that result. So I have a spreadsheet here, 55. I'm going to punch these things in real quick, and then I hopefully will share that screen with you really quickly. So 1,003, and we said she's going to get 45 points for that result, and so that gets her. Ooh, that's not right. Shoot, I was playing with things earlier. Let's see. Gotta make sure I have correct numbers. So I have a little Excel formula going. Okay, so she's right there. Okay, so Big Ten's 5633 plus. Or no, that's not what it was. It's 1,055.86, 1,001.21, 55.86, 1,001. Is that what it is? Did I get that right? That's interesting. 21 points. Okay. I accept it. All right. So if I stop sharing that and no, not new layout. Oh, present. Share screen, and workbook. Okay. So now you're seeing, hopefully you're seeing. Yeah, okay. Now you're seeing my Excel sheet. So what you can see here, this is not Mag, but Maddie Harris's numbers. So this is her U.S. national result. The next one down is her Division I Nationals result. The one under it is her throw from the Jim Click shootout at the University of Arizona. The one underneath it is the Michael Johnson Invitational. And the one underneath that is now today the Harry Jerome Classic. So on her profile, she had a 56-meter throw that was worth 1,010 points. And it was second place at the Big Ten meet. So that got her 10 points. So that gave her 1,020 points. Because she threw 55.94, she got 7 points less. So 1,003. So her score was, I'm going to put it down here so it doesn't add. So her score was 1,010 for a 56.33. And then placing. So this is what she had, right? This is what was in the system. This is what's going to get entered on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday. That's when they do that. So that will change her total to that and divided average to that. So it'll go from 1078 to 1084, okay, to 1084. So what that'll do is that'll actually make this result her fourth best result, right? That'll leapfrog the Michael Johnson result. So with that, the Michael Johnson meet will be her lowest score. So if she competes again, ideally she beats that and replaces that meet. So now what we can do is we can do the math to figure out what will bring Maddie to a 1,103. So currently 36th place is 1,102. So what we want to figure out is what does she need to throw to move into that spot. So if we pull up, if we stop sharing that, present, share screen. If we go to the world ranking, well, this here. Okay, so we're back to this. So the scoring chart. So let's pick numbers here. So let's say that she goes to another meet between now and then. And since we don't know, I personally don't know of any other meets that I don't know. Monaco is how soon? Okay, so Monaco's a week away. There is no women's javelin. Okay. Is there? Is this 2 days actually? Meets. When is London? Okay. Is... The reason I'm looking at this. Oh, that's a bummer. Okay. Yeah. Diamond leagues are just worth a lot. So, okay. So let's just assume that the next meet Maddie throws at is an F category meet. So you see here the categories: B for USAs, B for D1s, F for the Jim Click Shootout, E for the Michael Johnson Invitational, F for Big Tens, which will get replaced with C. Well, actually, that'll move that down. But yeah, C for the Harry Drum Classic. So let's just assume it's an F meet and that she's going to win that F meet. So if we look here, she won the Gym Click Shootout, which was an F meet, and she got 15 points. So let's just say she's going to get 15 points placement wise. So then what does she need? So if we come to the World Athletic scoring table, let's just pick a number here. So if she throws 59.01, that gets her 1060. So then if we come to Excel and we replace that big, that Michael Johnson result, if I type in 59.01 and 1060, and I give her 15 placement points, that brings her average up to 1094. So closer, but not quite. So let's pick a higher number. Let's go up 2 meters. Let's say she gets over 60 again. And let's go 61 on the dot. Let's say she PR 61 on the dot. That'll give her a 1097. So 61 meters on the dot, 1097 plus 15 points. That it is that gives her an exact average of 1,102. So what's the next one up? So she throws 6106. 6106. Instead of getting a 1097, she would get 1098. So she'd get another point. Nope, not quite. Okay, let's go higher. 6117. 6117. That gives her a score of 1100. 15. Nope. So if Maddie goes to another meet and it's an F category meet and she PRs and throws 6171, that gives her a 1100 point score plus 15 points for placing. That still only brings her average to 1102.6, which, for sake of numbers, I want to say, what does it take to get to 1103? Okay, so let's go up a little higher. Let's go to, let's see. Okay. Okay, so 1. Okay, so you can see here, she'd get 1,105 points for throwing 6144. Wait, did I get that right? 61. 1105 for 61. Yeah, 6140. Okay, I had that other number wrong. So 6144, 1100. Yeah, so 6144. That's what she would need to throw at an F grade meet, because 5594 gets her. Oh, that's not right. She threw 55. I got my Excel sheet wrong here. Oops. 55.94. That would put, that gives her 1,003. There we go. Okay. That's why yeah. Okay. Yeah. Back on track here. So try this one more time. Yeah, so that's one step too far. 108, 107, 106. Okay. We now have 61. Okay, we got it now. If she throws 61.54, so that's right here, 61.54, that would give her 1,107 points plus 15 points. That puts her at a 1,122 point score to replace the Michael Johnson. That gives her 5,520 divided by 5 is 1,104. So, Maddie, go find another meet and throw 61.54 or further. Or go to a meet that's not an F grade and get 1,122 points. However you spend it. That's the math I have. Can't say for certain that that's correct, but I'm 95% sure. Okay, let's set up the math for Mark. Mark, men's javelin, Mark Minicello. Where are you? 38. So Mark is right there. This will be really interesting. So this is crazy. We're going to find out, is Mark throwing 73 meters at a C meet better than throwing 79 at an F meet? I don't know, but we're going to find out. Let's type this up real quick. So we got Mark. He threw 78.07. 80.62 at Mount Sac, 75.16, 77.27, 79.50. His score was 10.74, 0, 132, 62, 10.94. Is 70, 25, 100, 60, 15. Equals down. Some Excel is a really cool thing. Okay, so as it stands, Mark's got a 1,128 point World Athletics score. So you see that right there. What are we calculating? We are calculating Mark Minicello's world ranking as it stands because he just threw at the Harry Jerome Classic. And so we're going to take his result, which won't be in the system till next Wednesday, and we're going to calculate what it will most likely be to see if he bumps up from 38th higher or doesn't move at all because the World Championship qualification is on the line. Also, if you're watching, I watched your 100 Days Javelin video today, which was sick. So let's see here. World Athletic scoring table. So that was the women's table. So we got to scroll up into the men's table. Let's see here. That's hurdles. All right, I'm just going to check table of contents. Page 250. Perfect. All right. So Mark threw 73.80. So 73.80 is a 1,013 point score. 1,013 point score. So we're going to come to our Excel sheet. I'm going to punch that in. 1,013. 1,013. Now Mark won a Class C meet, which, according to our chart over here, right, if we look at that, a Class C meet win is worth 60 points. So I'm going to give 60 points there. And so, unfortunately, go ahead and take that away. Oh, do I have to stop that one? Present, share screen. All right, I'm sharing my Excel sheet. All right, so here's the spreadsheet that I've just been typing into. So as you can see here, this 78, that is, I don't know the tip of my tongue. Yeah, so 78. So we got Mark's USA result, his Mount Sac result, his performance at, I think, the U.S. Grand Prix. Yeah, the U.S. Grand Prix, which is an A meet. So he gets 100 points for fourth place, even 75 meter result, but 100 points. That's huge. 77-27 at Division I Nationals. And then his fifth mark, if you can believe it, his second best throw of the year is his worst, number in the system. It's a 1094 plus 15 points for winning the SEC meet, because somehow the SEC conference meet is a F category meet. So that's worth 1,109 points. So unfortunately, Mark's Harry Jerome Classic result of 73.80, we put that there. I probably shouldn't put that there. I'm going to put it down here. Okay. Yeah, that way it doesn't affect the average. So as you can see here, even when you add the 60 points for the win, it's only worth 1073. That's not worth more than 1109. So that's not going to move the needle. Mark's average is going to stay 1,128. So Maddie's should move up to got that right there. Should move her to, oh wait, no, that's what I calculated she needs to do. I think it moved up to 1084. Yeah, okay. So we're going to go ahead and stop that. Present, share screen. More rankings. So as I said, Mark's not going to move. So Mark's at 38, very close to moving up. If he gets into another meet and just has a better result, he can move up. In fact, let's just real quick. So Mark's at 38, 1128, and to move up, which actually I'm pretty sure this is the guy that does flips when he throws, Leandro. So he is number 36 with a 1132. So all Mark needs to do is improve his average by 4 points. Okay, might as well calculate that real quick. So he needs to improve by 4 points. Let's go to the World Flex scoring table. He goes to a F meet, and he throws. Let's just say he has a pretty solid day. He throws 78.06, which would be a 1074. Let's just say he does that. If he throws 78.06. No, that's not better. Dang. Okay, how far does he have to throw? Let's just go big. Let's say his PR is 81.17. Let's say he throws 81.22. 81.22 is worth 1119. 81.22, 1119. Okay, dang. Woo! Okay, that does it. 1133. There you have it. Unbelievable. If Mark wants to make the world team, And the only meet he can get to, which as of now, I think he's going to be at Jav Fest, which is an F grade meet. Mark needs to throw 81.22 by my calculations. This is not, anything solid, but yeah, 81.22 would give him enough of a score plus the placement points. That's if he won, right? Because winning Jav Fest would give you 15 points because it's an F category meet. So if he doesn't win, then he would need to throw even further. So that gives you a sense of where things are at with that. So world rankings, pretty tricky stuff. Coming back to this, scoring table, you can see, from 80 meters, I'll just put it like this right there. So 80.03, it's worth 1102. And then we scroll down. We'll go 5 meters back. So 1031 for a 75.03. So 5 meters, you go from 1031, you go up to 80, 1102. So about 70-point difference. 5 meters, 70-point difference. I don't know how you really judge this. I'm so biased because I'm so frustrated that we're in this situation with Maddie and Mark. But the more I think about it, the more I think I have to admit, just I want to see them make the team, and so I'm going to criticize the world ranking system as a result. It's a very delicate balance to figure out. Okay, how do we figure out Olympic Games, World Championships, Diamond League, area championships, national championships, big meets, smaller meets, everything else. How do you determine what that is? So one of the things I was thinking about from a world ranking standpoint was, what if retroactively World Athletics could reclassify a meet for a specific event if that meet had an exceptional performance, right? So given the history of a meet, in the start list, like Harry Jerome Classic or Jav Fest, next year Jav Fest, let's say Barry and the NSAF, they get right to it with World Athletics next May, and they're like, hey, this is who we anticipate coming. We've been hosting this meet for the last, however many years. Like, let's can we, apply it to classify this as a Class B meet or Class C meet? It's a high quality meet. That's what's happening, right? There's communication between the meets and World Athletics, and they figure that stuff out. If you go to the calendar, you can look and see what classification meets are. You can look at the meets and see what classification things are. So that's all set ahead of time. But hypothetically, let's just say, between now and Jav Fest, everybody and their mother decides to come, right? Let's say, Roller, Anderson Peters, Chopra, like the whole 9 yards, or on the women's field, Kelsey comes, Haruka Kitaguchi comes, everybody, right? If that happened and the start list was absurd, wouldn't there be grounds then to say, okay, the value of competing at this meet needs to go up? Or, retroactively, right? The competition is so good, 4 guys throw over 80 meters. That is not an F category meet. And so the question is, would there be value? Would it be fair? Could it be done well to retroactively regrade even specific events because the quality of the competition is just so good? Because what's crazy is that the New York Grand Prix is an A meet, but there weren't even 8, if I remember right, there weren't even 8 people to fill the finals at the meet. So how is it that the New York Grand Prix gets to be an A meet and they don't fill fields, but then the D1 Nationals, which both men's and women's javelin had all-time historic performances, that's a B meet. Now it's great that it's a B meet and not worse, because it's an improvement. But still, it's just like, I guess that it's frustrating to think about. Because there's definitely instances, I think, where you can point to the depth and the quality of what and whatnot happening in one place just it isn't being reflected in that grading. And so then even if you throw really far, because there's not that boost in terms of, like, let's say it's a B meet. If you get second, you get 80 points. That's a pretty significant jump. We just determined that 70 points is the difference between 75 and 80. And I'm sure it's comparable in the women's charts. So your placement at these meets is massive. So if you have an agent that can get you into one of these meets, even if you're not going to place top 3, suddenly you go to a Diamond League meet and you get, this many points for not even making the finals, but just showing up and taking throws. It's like, whoa, that's huge. So then your ability to get to those meets matters massively. Come here, buddy. Come here, bud. My dog, my golden retriever is being a good boy. Hey. Want to say hi? Come. Come. Yes. Come. Oh, you're being bashful. Come. Come on. Come. Come on. Come. He's looking at the computer like, what's happening? Come here. Come here. Come here, you. Come on. Don't be bashful. Oh. Oh. Who's a good boy? Say hello. Hello. All right, go on. Go play turkey. So yeah, it's just really interesting. This whole system. Trying to have more people qualify through world ranking as opposed to the standard. Throwing 85-20, throwing 63-80. That's out there. That. So then your ability to get to meets that are the right category and do decent matters significantly. And that opens a whole can of worms of the kind of cost of competing at the professional level in track and field, and just the challenges with the sport and the growth. And then you can open the whole can of worms of, should college athletes be professionals? There's a couple people that I follow, and then they talk about different events. Specific one person in particular who I think words it well, Montavious Edwards. He runs Raise Take and does a lot of sprint commentary. And so him and a bunch of his friends, former professionals, coaches, do just an awesome job. They're really funny and have a good time talking. So if you love track and field, you'll enjoy their show. But one of the things he talks about is, he's like, I love these college kids and I want them to do well, but I really don't think they should be competing at USAs. They really shouldn't be competing professionally. And the reason he argues that, if I get this right, is that, when you're in college, you have this support system and you have access to things that athletes who just have graduated and now are just, barely into the professional ranks, they don't have. So there's this disparity. And if all these college kids keep beating these just newly professional athletes, and then those college kids turn into those professional athletes, it's just this circle of college kids cutting into the opportunity that these new professionals are fighting for. There's only so much money, only so much sponsorship, only so many resources. And so when you're fighting for a piece of the pie, but you have the safety net of your college behind you, it's unfair. And fairness doesn't matter to an extent in this sport. But at the same time, if we're going to think about, okay, let's put myself in the shoes of USATF. If I want the US to do well long term and develop athletes, then I need to think about that kind of the people that are on the cusp of professional, and when we say professional, what do we mean by that? Right. Well, do you have an agent that you can pay and it's not, an issue? Like, you can get to your meets and it's not an issue. There's all kinds of things you can measure that by. And if college kids are able to perform at that level and come in and ultimately take spots that other people are trying to get to, and then those college kids, like I said, graduate and then turn into those people, it's just this cycle. And only so many people rise out of it and become Fred Curley, become Curtis Thompson, become, Kara Winger, become Chase Seeley, or whoever, right? And so it's tough. So I'm not saying I'm for or against that. I just think it opens an interesting can of worms. And in particular, we see Mark and Maddie are the ones, struggling here. If Mark and Maddie had the same numbers, if they threw the same distances at Class C meets all year long in Europe, they would be fine. Their world ranking would be fine. And so that's what, it's an interesting question. Let me see if I can find an example real quick here. Coming up on the hour mark, so I think we'll wrap up in a little bit here. But if I jump on the let's see here, ranking here. Let me pick someone just within. Let's see what. Yeah. So take for example this guy's results. So he's thrown at, I can't remember what meet that is, but that's worth a lot of points. Look at he got 6th place with a 76-meter throw, and it was a 120-point placement score. Class D meet, Class C meet, Class B meet, Class D meet. So his worst meets were a Class D meet, which even winning both of those got him 40 points. So his lowest total score was 1108. So his ranking score is 1133. So these numbers, 76, 80, 78, 77, 77, they sound just like Mark's numbers, but Mark didn't get to compete at as many big meets, GW, D, C, B, D, because Mark's got A Grand Prix, B Division I Nationals, B USAs, and then an E and an F, right? There's no E's or F's on this guy's sheet. So, typically your college athletes aren't going to have as many of those higher category meets unless they make it to, they're going to have Division Ones. They go through at USAs, but then that's it. Mark got to get into the New York Grand Prix, which is great, but you really need basically all 5 marks to be pretty solid category meets, unless you're throwing close to your best at every meet, which, most people aren't doing. So yeah, that's my blabbing about world ranking. The more I think about it, like I said, I'm just, I really want to see Mark and Maddie qualify. It is a very interesting system. It's not perfect, but it's impressive how it works. Let's just look real quick. Excuse me. We got Niraj, look at all his marks in the last 12 months are only from, the Zurich, the Diamond League finals, and Lausanne Diamond League, Doha Diamond League. Last year's Lausanne, this year's Lausanne, and last year's Worlds, 88, 88, 89, 88, 87. So you can see the result score. Plus, look at the placement score, 330, 240, 200, 200. So you get tons of points, which deservedly so. Okay, enough about that. So we recapped USAs, we recapped U23, U20, Pan Am and NECAC teams, talked world rankings. Just to recap, if you kind of came in later, Maddie, if Maddie goes and throws 61.54 and wins at an F category meet, it'll bring her average up to where it needs to be. So PR. And if Mark throws a PER, I believe, 81.22, because I think his PR is 81.17. If he throws 81.22, then that will move his average up and get him in. And that, again, is assuming that no one else moves and that my math is correct. So it may or may not be, but I think I'm probably on the right track that they need to throw really far or somehow magically get, Mark get pulled into a Diamond League where he can place 5th and still get tons of points. But it's really tough to get into those things. So I don't see that happening. But hopefully maybe there's another meet like this Harry Jerome meet that's a C meet, because JabFest, unfortunately, is an F category meet, even though it's going to be a great atmosphere. And I think you're going to be able to throw far there. So I'd love to see that. I'm going to be there. So really hope to see y'all there. Question, did the UW Javelin thrower do good? Harry Jerome Classic. Is that what that question is? Did the UW thrower do good? Do you know somebody? Can you clarify that question? Oh, Washington? Are you talking about Chandler at USA's? Chandler did reasonably good at USA's. He threw 73. He made finals, if I remember right. Huskies College. Yeah. Yeah, real quick, let's check on that. I think I had that up. Yeah, Chandler, season's best, 72-26. He got 7th. That's pretty impressive to do that at the nationals. I think his best is, I can't remember. Now I want to know. Let's check that real quick. What's his Princeton profile? What did he throw at Princeton? I hate that Tiefer splits it up. Oh, yeah, that's not right. It's still not right. Local meet, nice guy. Yeah, cool. Honestly, like it's really hard to find not nice people in track and field generally. I feel like I mean I'm there's tons of people that are nasty, but like in general, track and field is just an awesome community sport, just way different than other sports, which is cool. Oh, okay. Why does it say season's best if it's not a? Maybe through something like representing Princeton, but it's not in Tiefers. I don't know. Okay, but either way, answering your question, 72-26. I think that's pretty solid considering his college season. Um, yeah. So I covered everything I wanted to cover. The only other thing I wanted to throw out there, I got my Spearworks Viper shirt on. So the answer to my question on my Instagram story, which was what's the best javelin to have if there's a zombie apocalypse, the answer is the Viper. It's going to be a sick carbon javelin coming out from Spearworks. It's going to be pushing tolerances. You're going to be able to customize it. It's going to be pretty sick. There's nothing like it on the market. So really excited for that to be coming out in a couple weeks. Worked with Duncan. Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, Duncan, nice guy. I think I was at 2 or 3 clinics when I was in high school where Duncan was there. Really good conversations with him. Pretty sweet. I actually have a poster in my garage signed by Tom, Duncan, and Barry. It's a 16 Jab Fest poster. Hopefully they have posters this year. We'll see about that. So hopefully, yeah, you see y'all at Jab Fest. For those of you that tuned in live, really appreciate you tuning in. And hopefully all my babbling made some kind of sense. I hope you all have a great weekend. And out of curiosity, what were the results picking team for the men's and women's D1 competition? So the leaderboard for that is on my Instagram. So if you go there, you can see that, which reminds me, start thinking because we will do this again for World Championships. Thank you. We're going to be doing, we'll be doing a fantasy league with like fake money and all that jazz for World Champs. How do you feel with the USATF Junior Olympics? You think it's going to be a strong comp? Travis Miles is going to come to a strong go. Yeah, real fast. USA Junior Olympics. I'm not too familiar with everybody that kind of fits that age category, but any kind of youth competitions and nationals, it's really tough. You're again, like you're pointing out, your ability to get to the meet makes a huge difference. New Balance Nationals, it's in Philly. So you're going to have Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, for sure. Are you going to have people from Florida, Texas, for maybe? Same thing, Nike Nationals. It was in Oregon. So again, you're going to have school, you're going to have people coming, the resources, the, financial position of an athlete and their family or the school, becomes a huge question. And this is true across all sports, I remember, my family's a big soccer family, people going to these big tournaments and, ultimately these clubs that have the big money, they can get people out to the national tournament. So are they really the best team? Well, probably not considering how many people play soccer, but if you can get to the meet, you can win. The same to be true, there's only so many masters throwers in the US, but then even of the masters throwers, masters track and field athletes, how many of them actually go to the national meet? To then qualify and represent the U.S., which then, then you're probably going to still be paying your way to go to whichever country's hosting the World Championship meet. So, like many things, like you're saying, the travel expenses, resources can definitely be a sticking point for the quality of the competition, which, that's just the nature of it. So I'll have to look and see when Junior Olympics is and whatnot. Hopefully we'll see some awesome throws with the Ghost Javelin, the Spearworks Ghost Javelin from the age groups that throw at that. But wrapping things up, really appreciate y'all tuning in. It's been fun trying to prepare and talk live. It's been a unique challenge, being able to mess up and edit around things for the other episodes I've done all year has been an interesting challenge and fun, but this has been a unique other thing too. So, we'll see about maybe doing some of these in the future and doing some I want to produce a preview for World Champs to include some footage and whatnot. So be on the lookout for that. Have a great weekend, guys. Thanks for tuning in.